Hey everyone, Matt here on another edition of Ask Ron. Ron, how's your day going so far?
Good so far. I just got internet back after being out for 3 days.
Oh, well, I'm glad you got it back.
Yeah,
And I know these students are glad you have it back because they're going to get some answers to their questions.
good.
All right, let's go ahead and jump right into it. The first four questions we have are from Robert in Oregon. And Robert's first question is a two-parter. Robert says, how many published books are out there in the marketplace of which you have written and authored? And are you going to be publishing any more new real estate books in the future?
Robert, I don't know that number. It's probably 8 or 9. And I don't know what I'm going to do in the future because I haven't thought about it. I don't have a book in my mind right now. So don't count on another one until I say I'm doing another one. I did the last one when I was down a week with COVID.
That's right. And I've already sent Robert the link to purchase that book, Lessons Learned, so he should be good with that.
Okay.
All right. Robert's next question is, hey, Ron, I wanted to know if you have any other type of contractor forms that I can print up because I'm going to have to hire contractors to refurbish a house and want something signed by them to keep them fair and honest with me.
Well, I have that agreement in, I think it's on the Gold Club site, which is the first place you want to go.
That's right.
And I know it's in my Quick Start Boot Camp manual, and I know it's in my rehabbing course. As to where else it is, I'm just not sure, but that should get you there.
All right. And then Robert's last question is, since I really want to get involved with Planet Ron and real estate investing, is it better for me to purchase your complete cash flow system with the three main courses in it, or should I learn as I go along and purchase each one separately?
Well, if you don't get the training, you're not going to get the business going. Simple as that. Your best bet is to get to the Quick Start Real Estate School, which includes the three cash flow systems at no extra charge. So our next one is coming up actually in July right here in Jacksonville, followed by one virtual, I think. And then I think I don't remember. Go online.
September's in Columbus, the 5th through the 8th.
In September, the 5th through the 8th in Columbus. Okay. The schedule is always posted on our website and Gold Club site and ronlegrand.com.
Right.
If you go and look at it on there now, they got a $59.95 price. Don't let that scare you away because you won't be paying that.
Exactly. All right. Moving on to the next question we have. It's from Pam, who's out in Arizona. Pam says, wondering if it's better and somewhat necessary for credibility to have a website to use in your advertising to find sellers. What do you think?
I don't think so. Finding sellers, I think it would be nice to have it finding buyers. You'll get 10, 15 times more people coming when you're selling a house to your site. And that's where you put the pictures of the houses and the video, which sells out before they even get to it. As far as selling goes, I don't care if they come to my site or not if I'm buying, because if they come to my site, now the site's got to get them to call in, and I can't do a deal till I talk to them. So I just assume them miss the site, go directly to Pat Live to take the call, 24 hours, and then they send it to me and I forward it to my VA to call and fill out property information sheet. The quicker we can get that done, the better, and I don't want anything to delay that process.
There you go, Pam. All right. Our next question is from Randy in Massachusetts.
Let me finish that last one. When you get into the 297 level of the Gold Club site, you get websites anyway, one for buying and one for selling. So you're going to get two sites whether you think you need them or not. And because there are some sellers that when they get your name, they'll go searching for you online, see if you got a website, but nowhere near as many as how many buyers will get on there to look at the house.
Yep. All right. The next question we have is from Randy from Massachusetts. Randy says, hi, Ron. With you being a former mechanic, when was the last time you fixed your own car and got your hands all greasy?
2 weeks ago. but I don't fix the car I drive. I don't even lift the hood on that thing. But on the classic cars, I'm out there quite often, and I got several of them. So it hasn't been that long. And the cars that I'm working on today are the cars that I used to work in the yesteryear. Okay,
Oh,
so
that's awesome.
when we get cars in the 50s and 60s, that's what I was repairing when I was a mechanic, all the way up actually into the late 70s.
And you do have a nice collection, that is for sure.
And when I open the hood, I can actually see the ground, the whole inside of that thing getting taken up with junk.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have the electronics on it. It's so much easier to work on.
Must be nice. All right. Moving on to the next question, we have Lewis from Louisiana.
Lewis?
Lewis says, listening to the recommendation for finding junkers, I'm hearing that the worse condition, the better, and looking in war zones. I'm also hearing in the conversation about why a property may not be selling could be things like functional
obsolescence.
Yep.
Yeah. Right. Oh, is that got more? Okay.
Yep. And now I'm seeking in my neck of the woods a lot of the junkier opportunities for dwellings that fall into the functional obsolete category. Is this going to be an obstacle wholesaling as a whole?
First of all, let me straighten you out on that first comment. When I'm looking in war zones, I want the least amount of work, not the most amount of work. Mm-hmm. Because if it needs a lot of work, the cost of doing that might be between that and the purchase price might be more than the house is worth. I ain't gonna do that. So if it needs less work, I can put it on the market immediately for an investor, landlord to buy it. Okay, so that takes care of that one. Outside of the war zone, I want the more work it needs, the better, because it's cheaper price below par if I can buy it at, which gives me more room to make a profit. So if you are looking at those kind of junkers, don't forget this. If you get the price down where you think it's cheap, put it under contract and put it on the market. The market will probably buy it. Quit worrying about analyzing it to death. You must be I bet you're a thinker brain. You a technician or a CPA or something like that, computer geek, whatever. Put it under contract. Put it on the market. Watch what happens. You will be shocked at what happens. And frankly, I don't care where the house is at. It can be inside the war zone or outside the war zone. But you don't pick it apart. Don't worry about functional obsolescence if you're wholesaling it. That's your buyers. Your buyers might not even notice that. Number one, there's so many I'm buying from out of town. I don't believe it anymore. People, I just sold one. I sold one to a lady in New York, I think. Yeah, just last week. She cashed the house. I don't know if she's ever seen it or not, but a lot of times they don't. They just buy them as is. And even if they see them, they'll see it differently than you do it. And anything that can be fixed, they'll know that anyway. So quit. You're trying to pick it apart. Don't pick it apart. Put it under contract now. Worst you can lose is your $10 deposit or $100 deposit, whatever it may be. Check the title, put it back out on the market.
All right, you heard him, Lewis.
And the minimum markup you have is $10,000, and trust me, I ain't gonna touch it for that. In fact, the last two I did, I made $37,000 on one and $42,000 on the other. Wholesaling them, man, wholesaling them. Okay, and no rehab, no costly entanglements.
All right. The next question we have is from Jennifer, who's out in California.
Okay, I'll try to answer it before I lose the rest of my voice here.
You're doing pretty good so far.
Yeah.
All right. Jennifer says, hi, Ron. What list would you recommend for yellow letters in today's California market? We are using.
Jennifer, that's probably a question better suited for the list provider you're going to use. Ask them what their clients are using in your area that is working. But there's some lists that are always good to mail too. Like, for example, vacant out-of-town owners is always a good list. A lot of people are having success. I'll tell you one that I like. If you have the exit strategy in mind in your head, you'll like this. I want the houses with small amounts of equity, small amounts. And because that will make it easier for the seller to just walk away and give you the house if you take over the debt. But then, I like free and clear houses because I get to negotiate a seller finance deal with a low payment and so forth, and little or no down payment. But the problem is with the marketing, you have to test a few things at a time, and that's the part that sucks. At Global, we've been marketing since 1999 when Global was formed. and it never stops, and we never stop testing other lists. So the same thing here. If you are going to spend money generating leads, make sure you can handle that mastering the phone call, that closing call, because if you can't handle that, you're just going to blow away good prospects and you're wasting your money. So first things first, practice on my scripts, my closing script, tape record it, play it back, fix the mistakes you make, and you'll hear them. You either talk too much or you talk too fast or you're begging, and 11 other ones, and you'll hear them and work on fixing them, and work on getting that call to a close and getting the big 3 questions answered by the seller after they confess they might consider this, okay? Because the closing script screens them out quickly if they're not going to be any terms. And so if they say, okay, I'll listen, and you give them all the bullets, and then they say, well, I might consider that. Now you go to the $1 million script, what's the least you could take for the house? We usually buy with nothing down, okay? And I assume you're okay if I make your payments until we're paid off in the future. Those 3 questions truly are $1 million questions. And the whole purpose of your call is to get to those. Okay, so if you mastered that call and you can realistically get to those 3 questions, then it's time to go spending some money on testing leads. But even then, don't be throwing thousands of dollars at the source until you've tested the source with a smaller amount of money. In direct marketing, there's always been a saying, test small, roll out big. When the test works, you roll a little higher, roll a little higher. You find the one thing, and the truth is most investors don't have a one thing. We are using 7 different methods right now, and some of them work a lot better than others. We have whacked probably 7 different methods since the first of the year when I started back in with my new acquisitionist. So, but what works in my area may or may not work in your area, and vice versa. So I'll tell you, we use Jeff Chandler. What's that? Directmedia.com,
I do not know.
Matt, directmedia.com, I think. Anyway, he's got the list and he's got the mailing pieces if you want to do direct mail. But then there's a whole bunch of sources that will do all that work for you, and you just buy the leads from them. Tell you the truth, that's where we're getting our deals right now, is from the sources that we pay to go get us the leads. Some of them run ads on Facebook and Google. Some of them actually cold call people. I don't really care how they get the lead, as long as I know that the lead is screened. So when you're going paying $150, $200, $250 per lead, they should be well pre-screened. And frankly, you should close at least 1 out of 7 of them once you get them on the telephone. So we have a course on that, by the way. I think it's been released. It's called Generating Quality Leads. I literally spent 3 days on that subject alone, 3 days. And part of it was interviewing some of these suppliers that supply leads to our students and others. Call our office and see, and tell them I sent you, and tell them I told you to give her the best deal they've ever done on that course. 3 days long. I mean, a lot of information. You will never use all those sources.
That's right.
Some are free, some are close, and some are expensive. By the way, guess which ones are the best? Unfortunately, it's the expensive.
Yep, that's right. All right, Ron, we come to our last 2 questions of the day, and they're both from Gary, who's out in Utah.
Gary?
Gary's first question is, in watching Lou Brown's presentation, he pointed out the liability hold harmless document he requires the potential renter or buyer to sign to avoid liability while the person or persons are on the property. I don't remember you mentioning this in the selling process. Is this something we should incorporate in our process to avoid liability lawsuits, or is this not necessary?
Your homeowner's policy should cover that, for crying out loud. It's part of the policy. And he lives in Utah, probably won't have much trouble with insurance there. Our rates are going big time up down here because we have these things called hurricanes that keep blowing stuff away. So our insurance companies would leave Florida if the government would allow them to. You don't have that problem there. You don't even have earthquakes. I don't know what you have there. Snowstorms maybe, but
yeah, cold.
They don't take away houses. So the real answer is it's already built into your policy. And if you're not sure, call your agent and have them verify to you that it is built in. So, that just comes under liability insurance.
All right.
By the way, I'll tell you all, you should get yourself an umbrella policy. Same company that insures most of your stuff will issue an umbrella policy. They're dirt cheap, okay? Like I have $1 million umbrella policy. So where something happens and that policy reaches its maximum, now the umbrella kicks in and takes up from there. In fact, for the first time in my life, I just had to use that on a car accident I had 3 years ago, which isn't over yet, but they're coming after. See, they know I got $1 million umbrella and a $300,000 on my car insurance. They're coming after the entire $1.3 million because they know I got the umbrella. Wonder what we know what it would be like if I didn't have the umbrella. They'd be coming after me. That's part of your insurance.
All right. And Gary's last question is there a checklist of the documents, like the CYA letter, that my attorney needs to get signed by the seller and by the lease option buyer to make sure that I'm covered?
Yeah, there's a CYA letter. It's not called that. When you're buying, it's called seller's acknowledgement letter. And there's a similar one that the lease option tenant buyer signs, and I can't remember what the name of that is, but they're both CYA letters. That needs to go to your attorney the first time and tell him or her that we're going to be using this every time. So get it in your system. By the way, pretty soon it'll become their letter, most likely, or something very close to it. So you're going to get the contract signed and you're going to get an authorization to release signed. And that's all you need to get signed. The attorney's going to get all the other stuff signed, and that's totally up to them, all disclaimers and the disclosures and any other documents, including the deed, of course. That the seller needs to sign. So you don't need to worry about that. You just need, when you get in the house, contract, authorization to release. And when I'm lease optioning it, same thing. I get a lease option agreement signed, an authorization to release, period. And then when I'm putting a tenant buyer in there, you don't need to worry about that. If you use my agreement that's in my book, send it to your attorney. You might want to add something to it. And then what he needs to get signed after, that's totally up to him, which is why you have an attorney. Get the proper documents, disclaimers, disclosures, and so forth. So it reduces your chances of any comebacks.
All right, Ron, I think that's all we have for today.
Okay, all right. Keep the questions coming, guys. I mean, if you don't send in questions, Matt and I have nothing to do. So get your questions in here. All right. And keep plugging. Oh, Matt, I got a work for equity class coming up. What day is that on? What days is that on?
June 29th and 30th.
Okay. A free one. Did you hear that? I said free. All right.
Free.
The work for equity. It's all about how, when you buy houses, if they need work, pass them on to a tenant buyer and let them do the work with their money and their labor. My favorite exit strategy when I buy a house and need some work. And it's going to take me 2 days to tape this thing. And the good news for you West Coasters, it's going to start Eastern Standard Time. So you don't have to get out of bed at 5 o'clock in the morning to get on this thing. And we're going to go from noon to 5 the first day, and from noon till when we finish the second day. So we have mercy on you West Coasters, after you hit us with a bunch of complaint letters about starting so early. Okay. So mark down those dates. What are they again?
June 29th and 30th.
Wow, coming right up.
Yep.
So you're going to put a link down there for them to sign up?
Yep, just click the link below.
Okay, I'm only doing this once. And by the way, I am taping a whole new course. I spent hours and hours redoing the old course, taping it once. So this will be the only time you're ever going to get it free. So don't just put it down in your calendar. Make sure you're at the thing, because you will never be able to go free again. Because obviously when we tape the course, we'll be selling the course. And the current one's selling for $997. Save yourself $1,000 and tune in. All right. I will see you. Let me see if we got any other dates that we ought to tell them about. Do you know of any?
We have the next quick start coming up in July. That's July 15th to the 18th.
Yeah, I'd like to see you guys get this stuff on your calendar so you can plan around it and don't get caught at the last minute. Yeah, work for equity is 29 and 30 of this month. And quick start starting on the 18th in July, which will be here in Jacksonville. Yeah, here in Jacksonville live. And that'll take care of you till for those of you who live, by the way, in the Ohio region around Columbus, however far, up to you. I'm doing a 1-day seminar on July the 28th in Cincinnati, and the same seminar on the next day in Columbus. So if you live in those areas, put that on. That's the only live 1-day seminars I'm doing this entire year. All right. I even
Take
sold
advantage.
my plane. I fly so little now. I sold my plane. I'm going to regret that. I'm going to regret it because I hate airports. All right. Well, that's it for this week, huh?
That's right.
See you guys next week. Come on, I guess get something started. You're in the middle of the year. Time to get going. And the more exposure you have to us and the training, a lot of what you're getting for free, the easier it's going to be for you to get going. But I'll tell you again, you need to get to Quick Start School. I train it, I teach it, and it's 4 days long. But I'll tell you right now, it's the difference between you being successful in this business or not. And it's not just term. I do terms, wholesaling and rehabbing and selling houses, raising capital, short-term rentals, all that stuff is part of that event. And we dig deep. So this is where you get the training to then go out and let us help you implement that training. And we got, we'll finance you if you don't have the money. So go check it out. In fact, why don't you put a Quick Start School link up for
Yeah, I'll put it below, right below the work from equity event.
them? Yeah, but don't try to buy Quick Start online. You make sure you call our office to do that, because we got tons of credits. And I know you got Gold Club points, for example. If you're watching this, that's $1 a point, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
And if you're a veteran, you get another $500 off. And if you pay in full, you get another $500 off, and yada, yada, yada. So call our office if you're interested in a Quick Start, and they'll explain everything to you. All right. I'm really going to leave this time. Okay. See y'all next week.